Welcome to Hero Club.
I'm Nick Williams.
And I'm George Primavera.
George and I started playing Dungeons & Dragons with our buddies in college, and we haven't stopped since. Even when we lived on opposite coasts, I would Skype in George on the TV in the living room of my apartment,
while I would DM from the floor of my bathroom so as not to wake up my roommate. When I finally came out to Los Angeles, we started playing with our friends right away.
And when we'd inevitably tell other people about the ultimate betrayals and daring heroics that happened in our games, we realized that they were just hearing a jumbled mess instead of the cinematic blockbuster memories that were in our heads. We wanted to show people how fun and immersive D&D can be, especially those who had never played.
And to do that, we record a full game like normal around the table and then painstakingly cut it down from 4 hours to a clean, math-free episode, so you can experience our memories the way we do.
Just like in a real game, nothing is ever written or planned out ahead of time with the players. The only things we add are music and sound effects.
I am the Dungeon Master. I build the world and the framework for an adventure. The players, like Nick, must then journey through the obstacles I set before them, rolling a 20-sided die and adding character-specific bonuses to see if they succeed. If they beat the number I have in my head, then their action is successful. If not, it is a failure, and there may be consequences. We try to follow the rules of Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition as close as we can, but as the Dungeon Master, what I say goes, and there are some things I like to do differently.
Each season is its own contained story, so find one that sounds interesting to you and start from the top. And hey,
welcome to the club. This week on the podcast, our guest is Natasha Mercado. Natasha, is there anything you want to say to the people?
Yeah, check me out on Adult Swim in the last open mic during the apocalypse. You can find it on YouTube or maybe on TV. Or follow me at Champagne Tashi.
And now, Hero Club presents The City of Mirrors, Volume 9, Chile.
The Daily Globetrotter is proud to present this week's top scoop from across the globe. With their curse lifted and flying machine upgraded, Daringcroft's motley crew flies southward to Chile, where they think the final gates to the City of Mirrors may lie in wait. But our sources say all isn't tranquilo in the jungles of Chile, and their arrival may be less than welcomed. Will the waves of discovery carry them softly to their prize, or will they be dragged to the briny deep by the undertow of missed opportunity? Either way, the Daily Globetrotter will be there, so stay tuned. On a personal note, this broadcast is my final scoop with the Daily Globetrotter. Last week, I mistakenly read an expletive on the ad copy for McQuaid's Molasses. I believe it was the work of some young ragamuffins playing a prank on me. However, I can provide no proof, and thus I have been forced out by the company. If you rapscallions are listening, please come to my aid. I promise you won't get in trouble. I love this job. You might find it funny, but I can assure you there's nothing funny about it. So, for the final time, this is Garfield H. Poopenstache III, signing off. Now, back to the program.
We open on Bones Mahoney, Jade Pickitt, Vanya Baranov, and Theobald Daringcroft loading the last bits of their belongings into the Wyvern, as Roiklin Wright stands 30 feet away, a bit of a way up the hill to his cabin. He cheerily waves goodbye to you and yells,
"All right, well, bye, guys. So nice to meet you all. If you're ever in this lonely part of the woods, please feel free to come and do some more drugs in a big old hot room with me." And they're in the they can't hear any of this, can they? They're very far away at this point.
The Wyvern's back door closes back up and begins to trundle through the heavy snow, eventually taking off over the stark pines. An hour or so later, as the Wyvern flies south along the coast of the United States, the party takes a moment to look over some of their new acquisitions.
All right, everyone, I think it's fair to say we don't want another monkey statue incident occurring. Why don't we all take stock of the items we've acquired?
Bones reaches up into his bunk and drags down the large chest from Rasputin's keep and slams it down on the table.
Thank you, Mr. Mahoney.
Jade saunters over and puts the wolf head cane from the Kruger-Skoshi train and the dagger she took from Rasputin down on the table.
Oh, and last but not least...
Theobald pulls out the apple and the little golden hook that Professor Kitchman gave them and puts them on the table.
Vanya sees his compatriots pulling out all of the loot that they have acquired and realizes that he has been entrusted with absolutely nothing. He stares off into the middle distance.
And of course we shouldn't forget about the monkey idol. I assume it's still strapped to the landing gear of the plane?
Nickelback comes in over the Atlantean earpiece.
Yes, sir. Out of sight, out of mind, so to speak. Literally.
Sounds good to me.
Bones pops the top on Rasputin's treasure chest, and one at a time takes out the artifacts. The Grecian bull statuette, the gear with the runes spread across it, and the Rosetta Stone pendant. And then tips the chest over, dumping the gold and gems onto the table as well.
Hot damn.
Theobald's eyes shoot to the gear and immediately recognize the script around it as Atlantean runes.
By Diana's bow. Do you know what these are, everyone?
Gems?
No.
He grabs the cog and holds it up.
These are Atlantean runes.
Theobald immediately starts trying to decipher them.
Roll a history check.
23.
Theobald, there is some very complicated text wrapped around the outer edge of this device that you are unable to decipher. However, the more obvious symbols on an inner ring on the device take you 10 to 15 minutes, but eventually cause you to reach a conclusion.
Yes, here, these runes are the Atlantean representation of the 12 symbols of Western astrology.
Ah, yes, the Zodiac. Let me see that. I want to see my sign.
Yes, of course. Please take a crack, old boy.
Vanya traces his finger around the ring.
Which of these Atlantean runes stands for Aries?
This one here.
The Ram.
Roll an investigation check, Vanya.
Vanya, a staunch believer in the Zodiac, has a strong flash of genius. 28.
As you run your fingers over the anti-Kythera mechanism, you determine that this is more than just a wheel depicting the Zodiac symbols. This is some kind of map, perhaps even some kind of tracking device. As when you run your fingers over the symbols, one begins to light up. Leo.
This is some sort of device created to track things according to the stars. I am very interested in this. But do you mind if I look into this further?
Yes, please take all the time you need to examine it. Right, what have we got next? What about this bull statue here?
Bones has crouched to get on the level of the bull and has been staring intensely at it during the entire conversation about the zodiac signs, which he entirely ignored, having never heard of zodiac signs before and not caring about what they are.
Doc, help me look at this thing. Want to get a good gander at it.
My pleasure.
Bones, make an investigation check with advantage as Theobald moves to help you.
Bones at first is at a loss, but then he gets lucky and sees something unexpected about the statuette. Nat 20.
Bones, between the two hindquarters of the bull, you see a little hole.
Those Grecians really had an eye for detail, huh?
And then you turn the bull over and notice that the nose also has two holes in it. You determine that the object may be some kind of whistle.
Bones picks it up lightly in his hands, shifts it back and forth between both ends, and then gently blows into the nose holes of the bull.
That's the end I would have chosen.
Nothing happens.
Huh.
He flips it around and blows into the other side.
Everybody except Bones make a Constitution save.
16.
Dirty 20.
19.
Suddenly, a thunderous booming exudes out of the bull's nostrils. Everybody effectively gets their hands over their ears and braces themselves in time. However, they will all still take 10 thunder damage, and the windows of the plane explode.
Oh, good lord!
Bones flips the table that all the items are on and jams it up against the bank of windows.
I'm sorry, I'm so sorry.
You and your bloody statues.
Theobald runs into the galley and begins grabbing cutting boards, which he starts affixing to the wall over window spaces.
Bones, Theobald, make a survival check.
8.
16.
You are unable to board the windows. Nickelback yells over the earpieces.
What's happening? I'm taking her down!
And soon the plane very gently rests on the choppy surf of the ocean below. thanks to Reuklin's newly installed open water landing gear. The engine fades, Nickelback grumpily comes down from the cockpit and begins fixing all of the windows as the party catches their breath and returns their attention to the items on the table.
Well, so I could, just hold on to that and not blow into it ever again, if that's okay with everybody.
Yeah, why don't you just do that, all right? Christ almighty.
I'm sorry. What are we doing here, if not looking at the stuff?
No apology necessary. It's nobody's fault.
No one asked you to blow into its butthole.
Well, no one complained when I blew into its face hole.
It was never going to work like that.
Well, it was always gonna be a butthole blow? Is that what you're saying, Vanya?
Yes.
It was always gonna be the butthole. Jade walks over to the table and picks up the knife that she's been carrying and has a closer look at it.
Roll an investigation check.
17.
This ornamental and ceremonial knife is embossed in gold with a dark purple, razor-sharp blade.
She is pretty.
Make an Arcana check, Jade.
20.
You feel a dark, necrotic power vibrating within the dagger.
Something's sort of happening here, boys.
Well, do elaborate.
Well, it's sort of humming with power. I don't know how to explain it.
Theobald gazes over Jade's shoulder at the blade.
Roll an investigation check.
18.
Immediately, Theobald recognizes several runes that seem to act as a sort of instructional layout for the dagger's use.
What is it, Gov?
These hieroglyphs here, Egyptian, they appear to say, sacrifice breeds strength. And this inscription here, this translates roughly to souls rendered from their bodies will return to Ra as he rises. Oh, Miss Pickitt, this is no ordinary dagger. I can only imagine it is a much more powerful weapon than a normal dagger, and this power has something to do with every dawn.
Well, if nobody minds, I think I'll just hold on to this one.
You being the resident dagger expert, I think that is best, yes.
Right, well, as much as I love this accessory, I don't think it really goes with my style. Jade says, pointing to the wolf head cane. Anybody else want to take a crack?
I think the doc should have it. He's the only one of us who uses a cane anyway.
Agreed.
I didn't want to be pushy, but I was hoping to add it to the walking stick collection.
Theobald takes the wolf's head walking stick and examines it.
Oh, golly, this is a smart piece.
Roll an investigation check.
22.
You notice that the top of the cane twists and lifts a bit, and in this new hidden part of the cane, you find Old Russian text.
Blast. Say, Vanya, until my Russian fully improves, could you give me a hand here?
Vanya, engrossed with the mechanism in his hands, looks up, startled. What? Oh, yes, reading the thing about the cane? Yes, what is it?
The text reads, Volos will have his revenge on those above. Roll a history check, Vanya.
11. It is saying something about Volos, a Slavic god. I'm not one for that kind of belief.
Could you say the exact inscription, old man?
Volos will have his revenge on those above.
Theobald, roll a history check.
13.
Oh, I'll have to read up on this Volos character.
Theobald tucks the cane away for now.
And of course, there's the Rosetta Stone necklace. I would wager that's how Rasputin was able to communicate with the whole of his multi-denominational congregation.
Theobald grabs the piece of stone and examines it.
Roll an investigation check.
20.
Theobald reconfirms for himself that this is indeed a piece of the genuine original Rosetta Stone, and is confident in his assessment that it will allow the wearer to speak and understand all languages.
Splendid, just splendid. Oh, and how could I forget?
Theobald runs back to the sleeping area and comes back carrying Tutankhamun's death mask.
It is unusually heavy, at least 50 pounds.
Mahoney, this might be a bit more your area.
Bones puts down the bullhorn and walks over to where Theobald is, grabbing the death mask and holding it level so Theobald can get a look at it.
That thing's spooky.
Theobald, roll an investigation check.
16.
You decipher the hieroglyphs written around the forehead of this mask.
See that which is unseeable.
Theobald searches his knowledge of Tutankhamun to see if he can gain any insight from his past research.
Roll a history check.
21.
Good lord. Everyone, this is most exciting. It has always been commonplace for the pharaohs of Egypt to have all sorts of nonsense and faff made up about them, their strength, their intellect, abilities that help them to rule Egypt and guide Egypt. And Tutankhamun is no exception. He is said to have visions that even his council could not see, and that helped him to rule. And that seems to be corroborated here on his death mask. If this item, which was in the possession of Grigory Rasputin, is like these others and has these extraordinary properties, I believe this mask might grant the wearer the ability to see certain, well, I don't know really, but something that is unseen, so to speak. Anyone want to put it on?
No, thank you.
Hey, Nickelback, get over here! Bones begins walking over towards Nickelback, holding the mask at his head level.
Yes, yes, now this plan is fine with me. Do this.
Wait, Mr. Mahoney, I don't think...
Here we go!
The mask slips over Nickelback's head, which almost sends him to the floor with its immense weight.
Oh my! Oh my!
Dear sweet Nickelback, I am so sorry. That said, can you see anything?
Yes, sir. Wonderful things. Everything appears to be glowing, sir. Or rather, the objects you're holding. And,
What is it?
well, everything appears to be glowing in different colors, sir. For example, Miss Pickitt, your dagger appears to be glowing with a dark purple sort of hue.
What about the bullhorn? Bones grabs it and holds it up excitedly in front of Nickelback's face.
Oh, yes, a dark and bloody red.
And the cog? What about the cog, man?
A sort of pinkish hue for this cog, sir. And this cane, a strange forest green. And, my goodness, the apple, so beautiful. Bright, and yet contained gold.
Well, here's a question. Anything glowing that we haven't already looked at? Like anything else around the plane that we might not know about?
I don't believe so.
Whew. Good. No more surprises.
May I take this thing off, please? It's extremely heavy.
Bones lifts the death mask off of Nickelback's shoulders.
Quite stuffy in there.
Theobald whips out his journal and writes down the colors and their corresponding items, so as not to forget.
It's nice to have new toys, but we should be getting on our way soon.
Nickelback, why don't you tend to the windows? I'll get this bird in the air.
Very good, sir. I shall be done momentarily.
Bones clambers up into the cockpit and begins initiating takeoff.
After Nickelback has repaired the windows, the Wyvern takes off, leaving the choppy waves behind it, as it skips over the surf for a moment like a stone before taking off into the sky. And soon the Wyvern is back on course, heading towards the mysterious point denoted by the golden apple in the middle of the Pacific Ocean off the coast of South America.
Well, I think we've all earned a rest for the duration of the flight. If everyone doesn't mind, I'm going to head below and read up on this Volos fellow.
Yeah, now that I'm sitting down, I'm noticing I have a couple ribs cracked, and my arm is making this big clicking sound every time I move it.
Well, I think you should transfer from sitting down to lying down then, old boy.
Yeah, I'm not feeling so hot myself. Maybe someone could bring me something to eat while I lie down.
Nickelback, you heard Tea Leaf. Bring her something to eat, now. Also, come fly the plane so I can take a rest.
Don't be so harsh on the man. He's only human. Nickelback, all in due time, but please do get to it. Thank you so much.
Over the remainder of the flight, the party takes a long rest. They return to their maximum points of health and attune to several of these magical artifacts.
Bones wakes up in his cubbyhole after a long sleep, mercifully devoid of monkey dreams, and rolls over to look at the bull statue, rolling it around in his hands and really familiarizing himself with it. God, I hope there's more Hessians in South America.
Jade wakes up coughing on the half a sandwich that's still in her mouth. Still good. As Jade finishes her sandwich, she pulls out the dagger and strokes it lovingly. My new friend.
Over the course of the night, Vanya's been waking up to stare at this gear, getting frustrated and going back to sleep. Finally, in the early hours of the morning, Vanya sighs walks over to the table where the Rosetta Stone necklace is, slips it onto his neck. All right, let's see if I believe in magic. And goes to look at the Antikythera mechanism.
The Atlantean symbols on the gear swarm for a moment, and it becomes perfectly readable for Vanya.
Vanya closes his eyes in bewilderment. I am never going to hear the end of this. Should you tell him, Vanya? No. Probably for the best if you don't. No, but he's your friend, Vanya. Maybe I should keep him focused on this mission first. Yes, this after. And with that, Vanya puts away the newly revealed map to Atlantis and goes back to sleep, burdened with knowledge.
Theobald has been in the cargo hold ever since the group dispersed, completely tearing apart his luggage. He didn't bring his whole library, but he did bring a good amount of books on various cultures and deities that he thought could help him on this journey. Oh, come on, where is it? At the bottom of a pile of books and clothes, Theobald finds it. Ha! Deities of Asian and Slavic Peasantry by Anatoly Dobrov. Theobald all but tears open the small paperback.
Theobald, roll a history check.
24.
This time, you find a passage on Volos, and even find a passage on his cane.
Oh, come on, Volos, yes? Aha! There you are, you blackguard!
Volos, also known as Veles, is a major Slavic god of livestock, the earth, waters, and the underworld. And he is represented as a bipedal bull-like creature covered in shaggy, woolly hair. You see the cane, depicted here with the head of a cow. Written in the margin in Russian are the words, "No need for it to be cattle." Theobald checks back to the cane and does reaffirm that the rest of the cane besides the top piece is exactly the same. With a little twist, he finds that the wolf head does indeed separate from the top of the cane.
Theobald puts the head back on. I'll have to be on the lookout for a few more of those. Thank you, Anatoly, old boy. Theobald heads back up to the bunk area and turns in for the night.
Soon, the sun peeks through the barely curtained and freshly repaired windows, Nickelback having been prepared for just about everything.
Rise and shine, everyone. We should be reaching our proposed coordinates in approximately 15 minutes.
As the crew wakes, gears up, and joins Nickelback in the cockpit, there's a palpable tension in the air. And soon, a rounded, small object appears in the horizon line.
That's it, sir.
Everybody roll a perception check.
26.
24.
Botch.
5.
Vanya and Theobald slowly walk forward a bit, looking out the windshield of the plane. And as they approach closer, they are able to make out a perfectly semi-spherical, rounded black protrusion in the surf. A dome, simply sitting in the middle of open water. The waves are enormous around this dome, causing the dark black of the structure to be accented by the spraying of white froth. Vanya, Theobald, make a nature check.
17.
Dirty 20.
Theobald, you recognize this material to be obsidian.
Obsidian. Magnificent.
Just like from the tomb in Baghdad.
From the tomb in Baghdad? Vanya, are you quite sure?
Yes, it is something that I noticed right before everything started going to hell and back and we had to leave, and then it didn't seem very important until, well, now.
Wait, you mean the shards coming off of that spooky mirror thing? Wait a minute, mirrors? City of mirrors. You think there's a connection there? Sorry, I'm sure that's dumb, or I don't know, I'm not really the brain guy.
Sounds to me like you're onto something.
Oh, Mercury's wings, what a fool I've been. I literally have not made that connection until just now. Hearing you say it, Mahoney. You are the weak laugh to my Beowulf. Each and every one of you. You are worth your weight in gold, everyone.
Vanya jovially slaps Bones on the back.
See, my best friend, sometimes it does take the mind of a child to see things with a different perspective.
I am so proud of all of you, and if a giant dome in the middle of the ocean where it shouldn't be wasn't enough of an indication, I'd say that connection definitely puts us on the right track. We've connected various threads and are coming closer to our goal. This is certainly my favorite part.
Sir, I do not wish to dampen anybody's spirits, but I don't think I'll be able to land the plane anywhere near that structure.
I was just about to say that, Nickelback. The surf is too choppy for landing.
And we are getting dangerously low on fuel. Perhaps we should look somewhere to take port in Chile so that I may refuel with the extra stores we secured from Reutlin.
Yeah, and while we're at it, don't you think we need to find some way of approaching? I mean, I can swim, but I can't swim like that.
Perhaps a harbor. We could rent a boat or something.
Bones sits down in the other pilot's seat and relieves Nickelback of his shift, and slowly banks the plane around back towards the coast of Chile.
Yes, Nickelback, I think it would be prudent. I mean, we've all read Benjamin Franklin. By failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail.
Is that the kite guy or the cherry tree guy?
I believe it was the kite fellow.
We were told in school that he could never tell a lie.
You went to school?
Okay, alright, that's enough of this Bones has the brain of a child talk. Last I checked, multiple members of this team besides me have crashed this plane before. I'd like to see a child fly a plane.
I would like to see that too.
And me as well.
Look, we can all agree that we would love to see a child fly a plane.
Okay, get the hell out of my cockpit.
But
Out of my cockpit!
Yes, righto.
Eventually, Bones finds a small inlet as the coastline of South America becomes visible. Amidst tropical trees and resplendent cliffsides, Bones banks the plane around and makes to land in a gentle cove, surrounded by foliage. Bones, make a flight check.
30. Bones brings the plane down for an expert landing, muttering to himself, "Wait to see a baby land a plane like that."
And soon, the wyvern floats atop the water, rocking gently back and forth.
You feel that smooth landing?
Jade whispers to Vanya.
Who knew he was so sensitive?
Sensitive?
Oh, right.
Christ.
Mr. Mahoney, that was truly your smoothest landing yet. Good show.
Alright, I don't need to be pandered to.
I was not pandering. Let's go to Chile. As always, Nickelback, and in the spirit of prudence, I think it's best that you remain with the wyvern, if you don't mind.
Very well, sir. According to the maps, there is a tin export harbor just a few miles south of here. Perhaps you can negotiate for fuel if they have any, but finding a vessel to take you to that big dome in the middle of the ocean should be the next step forward, I think.
As ever, my man, I'd be lost without you. Thank you, Nickelback. Onwards, everyone, to glory! Theobald leaves behind his neckerchief and opens his safari shirt and rolls up the sleeves. Then, holding his hat and rifle over his head, hoping to keep them out of the water, jumps in.
Bones shimmies down the cockpit ladder, shucks his heavy shearling flight jacket onto his bunk, rolls the sleeves up on his Henley, and dives neatly into the warm water. It's nice.
Jade takes off her cropped jacket and the skirt part of her outfit, leaving just pantaloons and a thin cotton shirt. She straps her dagger safely against her and jumps into the water. Refreshing.
Vanya takes off his giant coat and shirt, revealing just a simple white tank top. He begins to strap a bunch of his improvised explosives to his biceps, and he jumps into the water.
And soon the party is dripping wet on the sandy shore. Everybody make a perception check.
20.
15.
16.
4.
Hold everyone. We are not alone.
And then all of you hear the click-clacking of various guns being cocked back. And walking out of the forest, flanked by at least 10 burly men, is
Sarah Subby Withers. She's a short woman, about 4'11", and she's wearing a bunch of tin jewelry. Her eyes are wide, with almost a feral look. She speaks up.
¿Hablas inglés o qué?
Sí, es más mejor de mi español. And Theobald switches to English. I am Theobald Daringcroft, the explorer. This is my cowboy daredevil pilot, Bones Mahoney from America. This here is my expert man of science and explosives expert, Vanya Baranov. He is a Russian. And this young lady is my countrywoman and lock expert, Miss Jade Pickitt.
in this woman's hands. She cradles a bizarre metal contraption. Everybody make an investigation check.
13.
18.
14.
3.
Theobald recognizes the object as a Gatling gun. very similar to the ones equipped on top of the Hessian planes. But this one appears to have been rigged into a kind of backpack that the woman holds aloft menacingly. A rope of thick, high-caliber bullets is wrapped around the backpack and trailed down to the jungle floor.
My, whatever have you got there?
She turns to her men and whispers,
Mantener. Oh, what? This? This is something I made myself. Most of it is recomprised from stuff I stole from those Hessians.
I say, did you just say Hessians? We've been contending with a few Hessians ourselves.
I would wager they're probably the same Hessians.
Yes, Mr. Mahoney, I would wager the same.
Which means they've already been here.
Does one of them have a milky eye?
Oh, so you know this guy?
and she spits.
Oh, yeah. He shot me in the knee a couple days ago. You're wasting your spit on the ground. You should spit in his face, like I did.
I thought you said he liked that.
Well, I think his exact words were, a little more milk for the eye, which, to each their own, I guess.
Nasty business.
Yes, the man's repulsive. Is he still here, in Chile?
Unfortunately, they are still here. They came in a couple days ago on these flying machines, similar to yours. They shot me and my men to hell. But I am gonna take my harbor back, I swear to God!
Well, madam, are you familiar with the old adage, the enemy of mine enemy is my friend? And Theobald extends a hand.
My father loved that one.
Subby Withers.
An absolute pleasure to meet you, Subby. Theobald turns back to the sea. To shore, everyone! We have an accord!
Bones takes the additional 4 steps necessary to get up to Subby as well, and flashes his signature smile. Bones Mahoney, cowboy daredevil pilot, and attempts to kiss her hand.
Subby allows him.
I missed you, Americans.
Vanya charges up the 4 steps. You are absolutely beautiful.
Don't blush, he's talking about your gun.
Vanya is indeed staring directly at the immense gun cradled in Subby's hands.
Nice to see another non-evil woman round these parts. So you got yourself an army. I like your style.
Yes, to that point. Whatever is the army for?
Well, they used to work at the dock. Now we don't have one because of that goddamn Commandant Wulff.
What a blasted shame. Well, why don't you show us where he's situated and we can help you roust the blackguard out?
Yeah, we're pretty handy getting rid of those Hessians.
And I'm itchy to get another crack at that milky-eyed bastard.
What is her name? Please, I must know.
She just said it was Subby.
He's talking about the gun.
Vanya stares intently at Subby. Please, I must know. What have you named her?
Her name is Bam Bam, and she's my pride and joy.
Yes. Bam Bam. Vanya cradles his flamethrower. We shall find you a name today.
Over the Atlantean earpieces, all of you hear,
Excuse me, sir. I have taken a peek out the windows and have noticed that you've all been ambushed. Do you require any assistance?
No, Nickelback, no ambush here. We've just made a few new friends.
Very good. Enjoy yourselves. Remember to hydrate.
Thank you, Nickelback. Enjoy crocheting. Well, please lead the way, Miss Withers.
and the group takes off into the jungle. The displaced dock workers flanking out to the left and right, giving the remaining 5 a wide berth. Meanwhile, Subby briefs the party on the original plan to retake the harbor.
So the plan of attack was clear. Destroy the Hessian command center, and then destroy the Hessian artillery cannons. But then it all went to hell. And by the way, what brings you here?
I'm glad you asked.
Oh, here we go. Gov's giving away all our information again.
That flying machine you saw requires fuel, which we are in search of, along with a boat that we could utilize.
Interesting. I might be inclined to lend you a boat of some sort. Are you taking it to that big dome in the middle of the water?
Ah, yes, you know the one. Exactly.
You won't be able to get in from the surface, at least.
Well, madam, I think you'll find that my team and I can be rather resourceful.
Well, I have your resources right here. I've actually hand-built my own submarine that I use to go into the tin mine. There are many precious materials under that dome. That's how I've made my fortune.
You've got your very own submersible.
A sub what?
A boat that goes underwater, Miss Pickitt.
But how do we stay dry if the boat goes underwater?
So, Mr. Mahoney, it's remarkable. The boat is completely enclosed and pressurized so that...
All right, I get it.
A submersible, Miss Withers, would be perfect.
Well, sure, we can make a deal. If you help me, I'll help you.
Yes, of course. I presume we help you roust out Helmut Wulff, as it were, and you avail us of the submersible?
Yes, and one more thing.
And she pulls out an object from her pocket.
Have you ever seen this on your adventures? They call it bismuth.
Why, yes, bismuth. It's this wonderful, naturally occurring crystal material. Whatever about it.
If you ever find another place that has a lot of bismuth, just promise you'll tell me where it is.
Why, yes, I can do that, absolutely. Might I add one more condition to the deal?
Depends, but sure.
You must regale me with how you built this submersible on the way. I would so like to hear about it.
Why, yes, of course, I can tell you how I built my submarine.
And after trudging through the rainforest carefully and slowly, the group crests the top of a very tall hill and looks down amidst the tropical trees at the shoreline. An industrious dock lies before the party, several hundred feet down. Enormous steamships sit idle, floating on the water, as well as a couple of buildings that are now surrounded by Hessian aircraft. One such building, clearly the center point for all of the complicated operations of the harbor, is now adorned with a Hessian flag bearing the arms of chaos, 8 arrows pointing in every cardinal direction.
So here are the 2 options. Number 1, we go in quietly, sneaky, and then sabotage. While everything is in chaos, we attack in force. Or 2, we get in this minecart, push it down the hill, and shoot everything we see.
Bones raises his hand.
Yes, we know which one you want to do.
He retracts his hand.
Here's a thought. Why don't we do both?
I like that. Go on.
Well, we use the car as a distraction and get Subby's boys to come in round the edges and pick off the ones hanging out.
Yes, I could put all of my bombs, or not all, some of them, into this cart. We push it down the hill. Big bomb. Perfect distraction.
Or like, you and Subby in the car with a gun and a big flamey throwing thing, and that's the sort of big boom.
All right, keep your pants on, Vanya.
I love all of these ideas that are being thrown about. What fun it is to brainstorm. I propose that we put Vanya, Mr. Mahoney, and Ms. Withers in the cart. Mr. Mahoney perched sort of toward the front. Upon landing, Mr. Mahoney shall leap onto the nearest Hessian, while Vanya throws explosives and fires out of the cart, along with a barrage of bullets from Miss Withers. In the meantime, Miss Pickitt and Miss Withers' men shall play our saboteurs, while I provide you support from up here.
I'm in.
Now that's my kind of plan. Jade, why don't you take those boys down and you whistle to us once you're in position? I think my bird call will actually not be out of place in this setting, like it was in the desert. You remember the one, caca.
How could I forget?
Sounds like a plan. Let us know when you'd like us to come down.
Will do, and just so everyone knows, my guess is that the building with a flag on it is where we're going to find our milky-eyed friend.
Then I'll go straight there.
Perfect.
Courage, everyone, and good luck. Theobald gets up and heads further down into the valley to take position in the trees.
Theobald, roll a survival check.
14.
Theobald finds an outcropping of rock that he lays down on prone, steadying his aim. Theobald, roll a stealth check.
Nat 20. Theobald nestles himself under some bramble and waits.
All right, we're off. And Jade takes off with the 10 men down the side of the mountain.
Jade, roll a stealth check.
17.
Jade, as you make your way down the mountain, the men fan out on either side of you, about 50 feet in the foliage. Only the men directly to your left and right are within your eye line. But as you motion forward, they disseminate the orders to the rest of the crew in an efficient fashion, and you make your way through the jungle to the edge of the tree line, where several Hessian soldiers are leaning up against one of the aircraft, talking casually with each other. The rest of the Hessians are far in the distance, busying themselves with heavy crates, taking inventory.
Jade motions to the men nearest her to take out the Hessians stealthily without attracting attention.
The men holster their guns and instead take out small, cobbled-together crossbows, leaning them up against the bushes and wait for Jade's signal.
Jade pulls out the dagger from her ankle, looks to her left and right at the two men, and nods her head, throwing her daggers at the nearest guy.
Make an attack with advantage.
16.
Hit, roll damage.
25.
One man drops as the dagger finds its way directly into his jugular, and the other man, shocked, goes to help his comrade up and is then struck with 10 crossbow bolts.
We can spread those things out next time, boys.
You get a couple of nods in response. The bodies are pulled into the jungle, and Jade leads the men, creeping carefully through the still Hessian airfield, surrounded by planes on all sides. Roll another stealth check.
29.
Following Jade's lead, only popping their heads above the aircraft a couple of times to get their surroundings, all 11 people make it through the airfield unnoticed. Now you have reached where most of the work is taking place. You find yourself able to split off and head towards the building with the enormous flag sticking out of it, or several extremely conspicuous, massive cannons that stretch towards the sky.
Jade motions to the men to go over and sabotage the cannons, while she heads towards the building with the flag.
All 10 of the men dart towards the cannons, leaving Jade alone. Jade, you creep closer and closer to what is clearly the center of command for all of these Hessians. It is heavily guarded. 2 men at both entrances, totaling 4 guards specifically assigned to this building. Meanwhile, several Hessian convoys, lugging heavy crates meant to be stored on ships, trundle by. Jade waits for a moment, gazing towards the guns. Make a perception check, Jade.
21.
After 2 minutes remaining carefully hidden, Jade suddenly sees a figure climb on top of one of the cannons. The figure holds up a hand in a very obvious signal.
Jade looks towards the mountains with the cart and yells out,
Back up on the mountain?
That's it! That's the ka-ka-ka-ka! With Vanya and Subby already in the cart, Bones begins to push it, getting a running start and hopping into the front himself. Here we go!
And the cart shoots down the hill like the tallest roller coaster ever made. Everybody make a strength save.
26.
16.
14.
Gripping the sides, all 3 maintain their position within the cart as a massive bump shakes everyone right to their core. And the cart shoots down through tons of trees, whipping past you at lightning speed. Everybody make a perception check.
22.
5.
Botch.
Vanya is the only one to notice as the trees begin to clear that the cart is whipping directly past a small outpost. A couple of Hessian soldiers, drawn by the noise of the screams from up the mountain.
Bossy Stace, stop! Stop! Vanya throws a cluster of cherry bombs at his 3 targets. 17, 27, 16.
3 hits. Roll damage.
9 damage on the first man, 11 damage on the second, 6 damage on the third. And as the cart whips by, Vanya takes out his flamethrower and unleashes a torrent of flame upon all 3 men.
One of the men essentially disappears in a puff of smoke when the cherry bomb explodes. And the other 2, patting out their burning clothes, find their efforts to be completely in vain as they are engulfed in fire as a screaming Vanya pulls back on his flamethrower and pulls the trigger. And the cart continues to hurtle downwards. Everybody make another perception check.
15.
15.
23.
About 100 feet down, there is a convoy of Hessians moving across the tracks, all walking on foot. It appears 8 of them are in front of you, and as they see the minecart shooting down past the explosion higher up on the hill, they ready their weapons and point them towards the incoming cart.
Bullhorn! Bones pulls the bullhorn out of his pocket and blows into it, facing the Hessians.
Every man except for 2 of the 8 fails their save.
14 damage.
6 of the men go flying back into the brush and collapse unmoving, while the other 2 remain standing after clutching their ears and refocus, ready to fire.
Watch this, folks.
And she hoists up her Gatling gun and points it at the remaining men.
I spit on you! My gun spits on you!
Theobald, from your vantage point, you see a group of Hessians backing a heavy-looking truck onto the tracks. One man sits behind the steering wheel, while the other motions him backward to block the minecart.
Theobald peers through his scope at the driver, focusing his hunter's mark on his target. 24.
Hit. Roll damage.
23 damage.
Describe it.
The driver slumps over the steering wheel, and without missing a beat, Theobald shifts his hunter's mark to the other man waving the car along. 14 to hit.
Hit. Roll damage.
13 damage.
And this man slams against the car, hitting the ground. And the minecart whizzes by.
Yes!
Back down in the camp, many Hessians are starting to scramble, moving towards the insane amount of noise. And sure enough, exiting the building with the flag atop it is a familiar face.
Okay, but nobody mess up the board and try and cheat or anything, because I was winning. We can all agree I was winning. What is all this hullabaloo?
Helmut Wulff steps out of the hut, looking extremely upset, and he draws his Luger, stepping forward and looking around.
They are here. I can smell it.
Jade uses the opportunity of the mania to sneak around to the door where Commandant Wulff just left, pulling with her one of the Hessian guards standing right outside with a knife to his throat.
Roll an attack, with advantage.
21. Tell the sun god I say hello, or whatever this thing does. And she slits his throat.
And the dagger begins to glow and hum. It feels warm to the touch now.
Oh, can't say I don't like this.
Jade, make a perception check as you enter the office, now abandoned by the fleeing and responding Hessians.
12.
There are an enormous amount of papers scattered all across the room, as well as a board game that seems midway through being played. Stacked up on some shelves, radio equipment very similar to the kind seen on Penelope Kim's back in the Ottoman Empire. In fact, tons and tons of wires protrude from this massive box and stretch out the window, connecting to various tall poles.
Jade walks over to the radio equipment and takes a closer look.
Roll an investigation check.
15.
After a little bit of fiddling, Commandant Wulff's voice comes over the radio on a kind of speaker next to the big stack of equipment.
Everybody surround the minecart and be ready to fire on my command.
Oi, can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Loud and clear, Jade.
I just tuned in to our friend's command center. I'm gonna put my earpiece here so we can all hear it and prepare accordingly. And Jade takes out her earpiece and puts it next to the speaker.
Oh, good. Looks like we will continue our dance, American. Ready to fire in 3, 2.
Back on the minecart, everybody roll a perception check with advantage now, thanks to this new broadcast information.
7.
24.
Nat 20.
The cart shuttles down the mountain, and right before the Hessians open fire, revealing their position from various bushes and trees, both Subby and Vanya will get a chance to attack first.
Peekaboo!
Subby opens fire.
Every man fails their dexterity save, taking 14 damage apiece. All of them drop to the ground dead.
1. Shoot! Okay, why are you not shooting? You missed it! Come on, guys! Ah!
Theobald, as you lay on the rock, shifting around for a new target, roll a perception check.
22.
And suddenly filling your scope is Helmut Wulff's milky eye, 200 feet away.
Well, hello again, old boy. And Theobald, with the milky eye right in the crosshairs, pulls the trigger. Botch.
Theobald's gun jams, and the shot goes off, but the bullet explodes in the barrel. The rifle is completely destroyed, and Theobald takes 29 damage, bringing him down to 31 points of health.
Blast!
Theobald, make a perception check.
15.
You're not sure, but there may be something approaching from behind you.
Theobald draws his machete and prepares for the arrival of a new possible threat.
Meanwhile, back in the control center, Jade peers out the window towards the artillery cannons.
What are they doing down there?
And then there is a massive explosion, a fireball rising into the sky like a volcano's eruption. The artillery cannons shatter, metal spewing all over the dock, into the water, and into the jungle.
Jade puts her Atlantean earpiece back on and takes out her knife and starts to cut the wires of the radio equipment.
Roll a Constitution save.
12.
Jade is electrocuted. Jade, you take 37 lightning damage. You are flung back against the wall as the entire stack of radio equipment bursts into flames after sparking loudly. Jade is brought to 14 points of health, and regaining herself, sees several Hessian soldiers sprinting towards the command center.
Jade quickly picks herself up as best she can and hides in a very small cabinet, which really shouldn't be able to fit a human.
Roll a stealth check.
29.
Jade hears the door open, the stepping of boots,
Oh mein Gott, der ganze Ort brennt. Der Kommunikationen sind zerstört. Wir müssen es Kommandant Wulff sagen.
and then the bootsteps fade. Meanwhile, the minecart is reaching the end of its tracks, which finish in a thick wooden barrier, past which lies a sheer cliff and the ocean below.
You didn't tell us about the cliff!
I thought it'd be more fun this way!
This plan keeps getting better and better!
Hessian soldiers are sprinting to meet the cart.
Bones uses the full momentum of the cart to dive out onto one of the Hessians, tackle punching him with both fists.
Bones, roll a dexterity save.
26.
Bones launches like a diver towards one Hessian. Make an attack roll.
25.
And he is thunked into the ground.
Vanya dives out into a barrel roll.
Make a dexterity save.
Dirty 20.
Vanya expertly judges his trajectory, tumbles across the ground as he dives out of the minecart, and then comes up perfectly to his feet, holding his flamethrower aloft.
Subby, having done this before, simply steps off, moving with the momentum of the cart, and starts to run.
Roll a dexterity save.
17.
All right, Bam Bam, your time to shine.
Meanwhile, up in the jungle, the rustling in the bushes gets louder and louder, and sure enough, 3 Hessian soldiers emerge from the trees, spotting Theobald. 3 shots ring out, attacking Theobald on his superior position on the rock above. Theobald is only hit by 1 shot, taking 10 damage, bringing him down to 21 points of health.
Theobald pulls his revolver and immediately shoots at the man who hit him. 23. 6 damage.
The man reels back but remains standing.
Theobald shoots the man again. 21. 16 damage.
There are only 2 men remaining now.
Immediately after shooting, Theobald uses his guerrilla tactics, running 15 feet to the left and hiding.
Roll a stealth check.
9.
Theobald disappears into the woods, and although he is clumsy, the soldiers are winded from having run all the way up the hill, and they lose track of Theobald.
Hearing that the coast is clear, Jade gets out of the cabinet and looks around for some first aid.
Roll an investigation check.
19.
Inside, you find gauze, a little bottle of clear liquid, and another little jar labeled Symington salve, now with cocaine.
First, Jade opens the salve and rubs it on a few places that have been burned from the electrocution.
After applying the salve, Jade regains 8 points of health, bringing her up to 22 points of health.
She then takes out the clear bottle and the syringe, looks at it back and front, and deciding it's worth a shot, she sticks the needle in, pulls out some liquid, and sticks it into her thigh.
And after injecting the liquid cocaine, Jade will make a constitution save.
21.
Jade feels amazing. Jade gains 20 temporary hit points, and her speed increases by 20 feet.
I am a god! Jade bursts out of the headquarters building.
The door comes off the hinges
and runs towards the nearest group of Hessian soldiers with her knife in hand.
Roll an intimidation check.
26.
3 Hessian soldiers, previously holding their rifles aloft, drop them and run.
Jade, her face singed and her hair fried and standing up at all angles, runs toward the Hessians, screaming, "I'm gonna live forever!
Es ist ein Dämon! Lauf! Lauf!
Meanwhile, Bones sprints from Hessian to Hessian, while Subby and Vanya find themselves back to back with Gatling gun and flamethrower ablaze. However, the Hessians open fire. Bones is the target of 3 attacks, but only 1 connects. He takes 10 damage, bringing him down to 65 points of health. Vanya is the subject of 4 attacks, 2 of which impact. He takes 29 damage, bringing him to 46 points of health. And Subby is the target of 2 attacks. Both miss her, as she deftly weaves in and out of the bullet fire. Hessians converge around the trio and sprinting towards them, holding a Luger in one hand and a massive Bowie knife in the other.
Come, let us tango, or do another fun dance-like thing with knives. Macarena, maybe.
I'm more of a Western swing man myself. And Bones charges straight towards Helmut, swinging twice. 12.
Miss.
24.
Hit.
And 2 more times. 18.
Hit.
11.
Miss.
18 damage.
Meanwhile, 8 Hessian soldiers converge on Subby and Vanya, all at different angles.
Vanya locks his eyes on 3 targets and throws 3 cherry bombs their way. 16, 16, 22.
3 hits on 3 targets.
11 damage on the first, 9 damage on the second, 11 damage on the third.
2 of the men are blasted backward and do not move, while the last, having had his entire left leg blown off, drops screaming into the dirt.
Vanya walks forward and unleashes his flamethrower on 2 men.
The man on the ground, clutching his stump of a leg, is immediately put out of his misery, and the other Hessian soldier completely avoids all of the damage from the flamethrower, lurching to the side.
Subby moves by staying back to back with Vanya and shoots the rest of the advancing Hessians.
3 Hessians fail their dexterity saves and take 19 damage apiece. Only 3 Hessians remain.
Everybody run! It is the gun witch of Chile!
And the Hessians begin to flee. Meanwhile, back up in the woods.
Where are you, British man? We will find you. It is only a matter of time.
Safe for now in the bushes, Theobald takes a little extra time to line up his sights on the closest German, setting his hunter's mark.
Roll your attack with advantage.
16 to hit.
Roll damage.
20.
The man falls into the dirt unmoving as his compatriot wheels around, just about to shoot Theobald.
Theobald shifts his focus to that man and fires. 24.
Hit.
16 damage.
And drops the second man.
Theobald moves up to the bodies, attempting to replace his hunting rifle.
He does indeed find one.
Thank you, chaps. And Theobald sprints down the hill toward the fray.
Tally ho!
Jade is sprinting through the harbor at breakneck speed.
Jade looks around wildly for more Hessians to stab.
Every single Hessian that crosses Jade's path dives out of the way, attempting to hide. One of the Hessians does not get away in time and finds himself directly in Jade's path.
Come here, you!
No!
20.
Jade carries the man forward 30 feet on her knife before he eventually is shucked to the side. There is a blast of necrotic energy this time as the dagger penetrates the Hessian, and then the dagger hums even more intensely as Jade continues to sprint past.
Ah, I see your punches have gotten softer, like a man with no hands. You're slipping, Bones.
I seem to recall knocking you on the floor with a headbutt and then an old man kicking you out of a plane.
Ah, yes, the butler. Let's see how you do without your help.
And Commandant Wulff lurches forward with his wicked-looking Bowie knife. Commandant Wulff's stab is absolutely vicious. Bones takes 38 piercing damage, but manages to grab the blade as it enters his chest. Bones only takes 17 points of damage, thanks to his cross counter, bringing him down to 48 points of health. Commandant Wulff then raises the Luger and fires at point-blank range, but misses as Bones knocks his fist a little bit off target.
Oh! Bones' turn. Bones throws everything he has at Helmut. 15.
Miss.
13.
Miss.
17.
Hit.
25.
Hit.
And one more. 26. 28 damage.
Dodge! Dodge another! Oh, my stomach! Oh, my face! That was a good one. Give me a second. Time out. Just a sec.
Bones, do you need help or you got this?
I got it! Nobody touch him!
Vanya offers his arm to Subby. Do you want to go destroy everything that you see that you do not like here?
Subby daintily places her arm under his.
I thought you'd never ask.
And the two harbingers of destruction skip towards the dock. As the chaos reaches a crescendo, several Hessian soldiers begin to climb into aircraft, taking off and fleeing the dock. Theobald rushes out of the brush and sees these planes taking off, as well as his compatriots ahead of him.
You've trifled with the wrong fusilier! Theobald takes aim at the nearest plane and attempts to shoot the engine out of it. 23.
Roll your damage.
19 damage.
The bullet misses the engine of the plane, but hits the pilot. And sure enough, the plane collides into a massive tree somewhere deep in the jungle.
Theobald pivots his aim to the next plane and fires again. 26. 13 damage.
Striking the pilot in the shoulder and completely messing up his takeoff, the pilot collides into several parked aircraft, and the fireball that ensues is awe-inspiring.
Theobald, in full combat mode with no frame of reference for how the fight is going, sprints to the nearest cover and ducks behind it. Ah!
Meanwhile, Jade, sprinting like a mare, sees Bones standing over Commandant Wulff as they face off in the middle of an open clearing.
Jade, seeing Wulff lying on the ground, raises the knife up in both hands and runs screaming towards him, attempting to stab him on the ground as hard as she can.
Roll an attack with advantage.
21.
Roll damage.
31.
No matter what you do today, Bones, you will never truly win. Because where I fall, a million more will. Oh my God!
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Helmut grabs at the knife in his clavicle, tearing it free and shoving Jade off of him as he regains his footing.
You think you've got me, but...
And brings his Bowie knife down on Jade. But he swings wildly, clutching his wound. He then raises his pistol, also towards Jade, pivoting his body to the side, and fires. Jade takes 16 points of damage.
Jade quickly turns her body to the side and uncannily dodges the attack, juiced up from the cocaine.
Jade only loses 8 of her 12 temporary hit points.
Bones pulls Helmut's attention again, squares off, and throws 4 more punches. 15.
Miss.
21.
Hit.
19.
Hit.
13.
Miss.
22 damage.
Describe it.
Bones allows Commandant Wulff to monologue as a flaming truck slowly rolls into position behind the German. Once it's directly behind Commandant Wulff, Bones hits him hard in the jaw with a right cross and kicks him into the truck, causing a massive explosion.
Okay, as I've been saying before being so rudely interrupted, you see, the many arrows of the Hessian army will block out the...
Theobald joins Jade and Bones.
Theobald has slung the rifle over his shoulder and is fully charging up, revolver in one hand, machete in the other. Where is he? Where's Wulff? Where is the blackguard, the Philistine? Not to worry, everyone, I've arrived.
Jade and Bones turn, hyperventilating towards Theobald.
You'll never believe it, Gov. It was amazing. We were all running, and the Hessians were running all kinds of ways, and they were dodging us, and we were trying to get them, and then we thought we weren't going to get them, but when we did get them, and I stabbed him, and then he stabbed me, and it was amazing. It was amazing.
Oh, well, it seems you've handled it then. Good show, everyone. Good job. How did Vanya and Ms. Withers fare?
And we cut to Vanya and Subby, holding hands as they skip down the dock, each with their massive weapons held aloft with one hand.
Do you think I can get that guy? He's pretty far. I can get him, though. Look, Bam Bam, shoot! Good girl, Bam Bam.
With each skip, Vanya sets off a burst of his flamethrower. Vanya turns and screams affectionately over the sound of mayhem.
I named my flamethrower! Its name is Bismuth!
That's beautiful! And she just sprays a wild stream of bullets across the lawn.
A couple of oil tanks explode.
Vanya, in a euphoric daze, lazily chucks Molotov cocktails behind his back.
A Hessian car, filled with soldiers, shoots towards Vanya and Subby. all the Hessians aboard screaming like zealots.
How about we do it at the same time? 3, 2,
1!
15 minutes later, the party reunites amidst the smoldering wreckage. Subby leading a coked-out Jade, slightly injured Bones and Theobald, and a joyful Vanya, down the dock to a seemingly empty spot, and then gestures downward, pointing out a small metal cap that is protruding from the dark water. The entrance to Subby's submarine.
She may not look like much, but wait till you get inside.
On the contrary, Miss Withers, she's beautiful.
And she opens the hatch for everyone to go inside.
With a hiss, a dark metal interior is revealed, with a ladder leading down into it.
A deal's a deal.
I promise you, Miss Withers, if I find any bismuth whatsoever, anywhere in the world, you shall be the first to know.
Fabulous, I'll hold you to it.
It's been an absolute pleasure, madam.
Jade attacks Subby from behind with a hug.
It was so nice to meet you. So nice. I'm just gonna go, sit over there. I think I've had a bit of a...
And Jade drops to the floor, exhausted.
All right, come on. Bones scoops her up in one arm before turning back to Subby.
Make sure to give her water.
Well, I hope some of what we did today can help you set back up this little slice of heaven you got here.
Oh, absolutely. Once the fires go out, my men and I will start building. It will be even better than before. Maybe we'll use some of these new toys. Oh, Bam Bam, you'd like that, wouldn't you? Yes, Bam Bam, you would. Yes, Bam Bam, you deserve it.
Bones' eyes go slightly wide, and he turns towards the submarine, carrying Jade with him as he moves down towards the porthole.
Oh, I can't wait to see inside. Thank you again, Miss Withers. And Theobald heads inside,
leaving just Vanya and Subby on the dock together for a moment.
We will be back. And if I somehow die going down into the depths of the sea, my last thought will be of you.
Subby looks down for a moment and meets his gaze.
Well, you know where I live. Farewell.
And Subby rejoins her men further back on the dock.
Okay, vámonos, hombres, ahora, vámonos.
Someday I'm going to marry that girl.
He's talking about the gun.
Yes. The gun.
This has been a Hero Club production, produced by Nick Williams, George Primavera, and Jack Quaid, with associate producers Marty Abbe-Schneider and Dylan McCollum. Voice acting by George Primavera, Nick Williams, Marty Abbe-Schneider, Dylan McCollum, Lelia Symington, Natasha Mercado, Nolan North, Nick Kocher, and Jack Quaid. The City of Mirrors Overture composed and produced by Matthew McCollum. Special thanks to Kevin MacLeod, Ben Doyle, and Matthew McCollum for their amazing music, Mage-Hand Press for their genius D&D 5th edition homebrew, Marty Abbe-Schneider for his incredible artwork, and Ali Catanese, our hero. Follow us on Instagram at Hero Club Podcast, on Twitter at Hero Club Pod, on Twitch at twitch.tv/hero_club, and check out our website, heroclubpodcast.com. Thanks for listening, and welcome to the club.
Okay, this was fun. Thank you so much for having me. I have been stabbed and shot and punched and kicked, and then the whole trampling when I was talking, which, by the way, is incredibly rude. And then again, somebody kicks, and just this one single explosion, which I may or may not be able to. It doesn't matter. I'll survive. Auf Wiedersehen.